This is for the good guys. First of all, when you enter into a relationship, I'm going to get back to you in just a second, ladies. I said I wasn't going to put certain things in today because this is going to be an ongoing thing for me talking about relationships. And there's so much information that needs to be known that we probably won't run out. We probably won't run out of information. But the guys, listen here. And women, this can work for you as well. But this is especially for the guys because so many guys are going through some things. This is for the good guys. Keep in mind, not just for all of them. Set boundaries. Set those boundaries right off the top. And hopefully you do have boundaries that, like if you cross this here, this relationship is going to fail. You can't be afraid to walk away from someone that's not going to be treating you right and constantly crossing those boundaries because women will test a man. And ladies, let's keep it honest. You do test the fellas. We know this, and you know it. It's a woman's nature to continually test a man throughout that relationship. So guys, set boundaries. There are certain things that a woman should not be able to continually do because if you allow it, she will continually disrespect you. Now, that's just a fact. But before you even get into a relationship, a serious relationship, fellas, please be knowledgeable about women. Be knowledgeable. Have an understanding of how a woman operates, especially the woman that you're considering. Okay? Again, that's the reason you really don't want to rush things down. We'll be able to break these things down later on. I'm sure I'll come back to it probably in a different podcast, but I just want to throw these things out there right now so you have at least a small scope of things that you need to implement in your relationship. And we all know that men and women have emotions, right? We have men that get emotional. We have women that get emotional. Never apologize, fellas, for having that range of emotions that the Almighty gave you. You understand? Men cry. Men get upset. Now, we ain't going to just be whining on your shoulders, and every time you... No, it ain't going to be like that.
Right.
I ain't saying, men, you can just do anything, but you need to make sure that you're in a safe space. And I don't know, sometimes, in a lot of cases, should I say, I don't even want to say sometimes, in a lot of cases, men are not going to feel comfortable sharing their emotions with a woman because women have been taught that men aren't supposed to do certain things. It's almost like men are not supposed to have emotions. But why would the Almighty have given us emotions if we weren't supposed to have them?
That's right.
Men feel as well. Men can hurt as well. That's why I say, who's checking? Who's checking on your man? Who's checking on their boyfriend? Who's checking on their husband? Especially if you got a man that's constantly checking on you. Who's checking on him? His wife is supposed to be the closest to him outside of the Most High, right? So who's checking on him? I guarantee you he's going through a lot of things and he has to cover it up because he has to play that role. See, a lot of guys, we were taught to be strong, hold things in. You can't be weak. But I'm going to tell you what, when it comes out, it's going to come out hard because certain things inside of a man, I've been there. I've done that. I've had my time. To where I've had things bottled up since I was a child. Because even though I had a father in the home, I didn't have a father that was attentive to me. So I can honestly say within the last couple of years or so, I had a huge episode. I had a huge episode. Because I've had to go out and figure things out myself. See, the beautiful thing about you, I don't know your situation. You've always had dad there. You've always had mom there. And that's a beautiful thing. Because if you need to know something and you had a relationship where y'all can interact, y'all can have conversations, man, and that's what we need in these so-called situationships or what they are. We need those marriages so that the children come up not in a baby mama house or a baby daddy house or transfer from one to the other, but in that foundational home. That home where that child, that whether it be male or females, get their foundation from their parents together. But never apologize, guys, for having that full range of emotions. Never apologize for telling the truth. Mm-hmm. And I have to add that one in there because a lot of times men find it hard to tell the truth because if you tell the truth, it's going to be an argument. I'm talking about on things that it shouldn't be an argument about. I'm not talking about telling the truth about, we should always tell the truth, not put 90 on 10. I'm a big one on that. And see, if we're loyal, and again, you're right, I had him read the definition of loyal. Go to Google on your phone and get the definition of loyal. See, here's the thing. If you have two loyal people in a relationship, and some people think loyalty is just, oh, I don't cheat on you. You don't cheat on me. It's a bigger thing than cheating. All right? It's much bigger than that. You got it up there? I want the definition of loyal. Don't give me loyalty, just loyal. Speak up for me.
Giving or showing firm a constant.
Speak up for me. I'm in here.
It says giving or showing firm and constant support or allegiance to a person or institution.
Firm and constant allegiance to an individual. That means non-wavering. That means when you have situations, you work that out. You have those critical conversations that need to be had. They get those relationship inconsistencies or those things that will deaden your relationship. You fix that. Relationships, especially marriage, is supposed to be until one of you are no longer there, right? And I don't mean because they walked out. I mean because they're no longer in existence. That's the hope. That's the hope. But see, in this modern time, people quick to put them track shoes on. Quick to put them track shoes on. And got to go running. And the Almighty said he don't want to hear no excuses. He don't want to hear that it was an error. Communication can build any relationship or it can destroy, or should I say a lack thereof anyway, can destroy any relationship. Never apologize about not always having all the answers. There's some things that in a relationship, you gotta put your heads together and come up with something that's gonna be a benefit to both parties. I don't have all the answers. I know what I do know, but the things that I haven't even considered, I might not even have an answer for. And all these things are crucial. See, we have to understand this. Even though we pick people that we want to be in a relationship, we got to always remember the Most High Yah is watching. He's watching. He see what we're doing. He see who's out of order. But we also have to remember the Almighty Yah is not a respecter of persons when it comes to judgment. In a relationship, you cannot be in a relationship just to see what you can get. You need to be in these relationships, whether it be male or female, because you're committed to that relationship. And if it's a marriage, okay, now it's even more serious because it's no longer a me. It's a we. It's no longer a you. It's an us. It's no longer a me. It's an us. We're supposed to move as one. Even though we have two completely different personalities, we need to move as one in a relationship. Can you agree with that?
Absolutely.
What about you?
I agree.
So in order for us to agree, then that means the people that's involved in that relationship have to first of all have an understanding. And even in the boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, who's going to be leading that relationship? Let me ask you this. If that relationship is supposed to be leading to a marriage, who's leading that relationship?
The man. Y'all first with the man.
There you go. There you go. That man. So that woman has to learn how to play her role and allow, I'm going to use this word, and allow that man to lead. See, when a woman's non-combative, she has a much better chance of being married to that man. When she stays in her feminine, she has a much better chance. But when she gets into her masculine frame and she becomes argumentative and combative and non-supportive, then she don't probably realize that she's pulling stones out of the wall that's holding that relationship together. See, a foolish woman, she'll plug down her relationship and might not realize that's what she's doing. And I say this because, again, I can't say this enough, ladies. Men and women are completely different. Completely different. And if you don't understand men, you should try and understand men. I ain't talking about just any kind of man, because all men are not good men. Okay? But if you want to be in a relationship with a good man, you need to talk with a family member. Hopefully that is a good man, whether it's maybe your grandpa or your father, if he's there, or a bigger, wiser brother that's going to tell you like it is. You see what I'm saying? Because you want to go in being an asset to a man, not a liability. If a woman is going to be constantly arguing, she's not going to allow you to take the lead. She's not willing to follow. She is not going to be an asset to that relationship. Can we agree with this?
Absolutely. Definitely not an asset. You're gonna end up tearing her down. She's gonna end up tearing down her own house.
And that's even, we can find that in Proverbs. That's why it says when you have a woman just say like not happy, it's best for a man to remove himself sometimes. Give her some room. Scriptures talk about going to the rooftop. Or we in this case, we might even take a drive, just go someplace, clear your heads. Yeah. That way, when you come back together, you can have hopefully, some productive conversations. Never apologize for being a gentleman. You know, women talk about things that they just don't see no more. Like men opening car doors for ladies and things like that. Some of those little, those little basic things. Right. Still holding hands when you're out in public or whatnot. Right. I got a confession to make. I'm guilty of still being a gentleman.
That's good.
My wife will tell you, since we've been together, and it'll be 18 years in June. It's just who I am. I open her car door. Let her get in the car. When we go home, for all these years, I open up the door. When it was just her and myself, she go in, then I go in. When we had children, open up the door. She go in, the children go in, then I go in. This has been consistent. Ain't no fake. See, women talk about certain things they want, but they really don't want it. I've heard women say it was weird because, they went on a date with somebody and he opened up the car doors and she thought that was weird. I've watched things like this. So women don't say they want a certain thing, but then when they get that particular thing that they hadn't had, then they say those things are weird. Well, tell you what, there are still good guys and gentlemen left. See, it's okay for a gentleman to be kind and show consideration and even be respectful. Because I know a lot of times in some of these relationships, women aren't used to a guy being respectful. So when he's respectful, he's considered to be weak because he's not coming across hard like the hood guys.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
So sometimes a good man is considered to be weak. That's the reason the Pookies and the Ray Rays, you know, they do all the things, they get away with all kinds of stuff, and then later on in life, you know, some women, they call themselves just settling, and they settle for the good guy. But when they see all the that emotional variety is gone, because when they're young, you know, those ups and those downs, see, they can't get bored with that. So even when they, in some cases, and it's sad for me to say this, sometimes when they get in a man is putting his hands on a woman, which I don't condone at all, some women tend to think that he does it because he loves her.
Right.
Well, I think there's other ways that we can show love.
Right.
That's not a way that I would recommend any man to show love. Yeah, never apologize for being kind and respectful and showing consideration. Because the desire of a man should be what? His kindness. All the time.
That's right.
But ladies, you should be kind as well. And you should never take a man's kindness for weakness. And lastly, never just apologize for being yourself. See, all people are different. And when you have good qualities and good traits, keep them. But when we know that we need to work on some things, this is for males and females. When we know that we have things that we need to work on, let's work on it. See, in some cases, people are not wanting to do better because they don't know how and they're not willing to listen and learn. You hear what I said? Sometimes people just won't do better. They know they need to do better, but won't do better because they don't know how to do better and not willing to listen and learn. Again, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
That's right.
So if we don't change some things, we're going to constantly keep getting the same results. Then when you know to do better, but you won't do better because you want to hold on to your trauma. Believe it or not, that's what feeds a lot of people, the trauma that they've been through. They don't want to let it go. And those are those abnormal things that we grew up with, that we normalized because we saw it for years on a constant basis. So that when somebody that's not living in that type of environment, when they see it, they be like, oh man, what's going on? Look at this right here. But another individual responds, man, that's normal. No, it could never be normal. And we have to quit normalizing abnormal behaviors. It's destructive, and that's toxic. And a lot of times we don't acknowledge that. We have to pay attention to things. We got to learn how to be attentive, males and female. We got to learn how to be caring, right? Males and female. And we have to learn how to be supportive of one another. And a lot of times that support is not there for the man. See, 9 times out of 10, if a man has a woman, he's doing some things for her, right? He's supporting her. Even in a boyfriend-girlfriend type relation, 9 times out of 10, he's doing something for her. In a marriage, we definitely know that he's definitely better be doing something because he has a responsibility. So when we have to show you in the areas that we need support. That way it takes the guesswork out, right? Because in some cases, a woman might not be supportive because she might not know that men get weak too. Men need support too. Because a lot of times women haven't been taught how to have a relationship with a man. Again, we're not a people who's had a mother and a father there in most cases who would teach their sons and their daughters how to be supportive when they have a relationship. And so if we haven't been taught those things, sometimes it might not even come to mind that I need to be more, that I need to be supportive, let alone more supportive. Make sense?
Yep.
Also, in some cases, this is for men and women, people have to be taught how to nurture their relationship.
I agree with that one.
They got to be taught. That way to talk to someone who's been married for a while. There are people who've been married 40, 50, 60 years. And then if we don't have an individual that we can talk to, I'm sure online got so many different things you can find online. Go to somebody who's been there. You see what I'm saying? Who's made them rounds, getting them 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. With today's technology, we can find just about anything on there. So sure, we can find some positivity too. Again, I'm very passionate about this. I know a lot of this that I've been talking about so far has been dealing with women, but I've slid some male stuff in there that I said I was going to hold back on because I really don't want to lose sight of certain things. Let me address something right now. No, I don't even want to address that right now. I was going to address some cheating. I'll go back to that later on because in a relationship, if you're committed to an individual, you don't need to be doing any cheating at all. I can honestly say here in the sight of the Almighty that I've been with my wife almost, like I said, 18 years in jail. I ain't never stepped out on her. I ain't never had another intimate relationship, a physical relationship with near another woman in the last 18 years, down to 18 years.
That's good.
And that's just one form of loyalty. You see what I'm saying? But now, when I go to talking about a situation that people want me to talk about, and I hadn't gotten around to it yet because fellas want me to talk about the two-wife situation, I'm going to talk about it. I wouldn't recommend it, but I'm going to definitely talk about it and give some ideas on how that should be done, if in fact it would be done, but not today. Let me say this, and then y'all tell me if y'all agree with this. This is something I wrote down here. The person that's willing and wanting to end the relationship is the one that needs to be more satisfied. In other words, whoever it is that want to leave a relationship, they're not feeling satisfied. So that's the one that needs to be more satisfied. In other words, say if you had a job and you're only making $50,000 a year, right? Which is more than the average pay, by the way, because the average pay right now is about $42,000 a year, compared to somebody who's making $100K or whatever. And that's I think it's like maybe 10%. 10% of men. You can look that up. I believe it's about 10% of men in this country that make $100,000. But say you making $50,000 a year. And you have a woman who she likes nice things. And she works. But you're a traditional man, so she look for you to pay the bills because your money is y'all's money and her money is her money.
I disagree.
Yeah, hold on. Okay, because that might be a battle for you sometimes, then. Because see, here's the thing. You get a lot of women out here today, and ladies, if you're watching, tune in and chime in, say something. Because you got a lot of women out there today say, they ain't doing no 50-50 thing. But those are some of the very women that want a traditional man. You're talking about 50%, 50-50. Oh no.
It's 100.
Well, see, here's the thing. I've also made the statement, and I asked this question as well. I said, does a modern woman that wishes to be married, do she deserve it? Yes, ladies, I did use the word deserve. A woman with a modern mindset, does she deserve, keep in mind, I said, to have a modern mindset, does she deserve to have a traditional man as a husband?
No.
No.
Then I need both of y'all to speak on this briefly, because we don't have a whole lot of time. I know that we're going to have to wrap it up pretty soon, and I tried to get to the meat and potatoes of this thing, and we ain't get the salad in on it. We trying to get the basics in, the meat and potatoes. So why does, and I agree with you. I believe a woman with a modern mindset does not deserve a traditional man for a husband, because if she's not going to be traditional, then what is going to be the benefit of this man marrying this woman with the modern mindset?
That's right.
Because there's going to be a lot of conflict there, because she's not going to do the things that a traditional woman would do. Matter of fact, a woman with a modern mindset would tend to be more combative.
That's right.
So I want both of y'all just to speak. And ladies, this ain't got a thing to do with any of our personal relationship. Let me say that first and foremost. These guys understand where tradition comes from by way of the law and our people and our culture. Right now, we're in another man's culture trying to blend in. And we've taken on the ways of some people that we should not have taken on their ways. We've taken on other people's customs, and we never should have done that. The thing that we should have done when we were put here based on our punishment is we should have just seeked for the peace of the city.
That's right.
But then we should have been still separate so that we can do the things that our Creator would have us do. If you got a second, man, speak on that for me. If you will, then you're right. I'd like to get something from you as well.
I'm gonna just say from experience, it's gonna create communication barriers. When you're dealing with a woman that's traditional or a woman that's modern, and you're a traditional man, and you seeking to have a relationship or a marriage that's governed by the laws of the Most High, well, everybody don't want to do that. Unfortunately, Most High say He got a lot of enemies. To say this, the scriptures say the haters of Yahweh should have submitted themselves. Well, if we talking about marriage, the Almighty is the one that created marriage. He's the one that created this whole situation of what we call marriage. So the only way a marriage can truly be successful is if the Almighty is governing it with His laws. Now, if you're dealing with a woman that's modern, they go by the laws of the land, and the laws of the land are in direct conflict with the laws of the Creator. So that's going to instantly create a communication barrier. You're not going to be completely in sync with one another because he's going this way and you want to go that way. Now, if y'all continue to pursue this relationship, the Almighty say, a house not established by Him, they that build it labor in vain. Eventually, that's going to lead to that's the truth got to reveal itself. Because, you know what I mean? Like oil and water don't mix. So that's the major thing you're going to face is communication barriers. And if y'all got communication barriers, that's going to lead to a whole sort of problems you don't want. So I'm gonna say that's the first thing, but it's many other reasons why.
Give me one more. Give me one more, because I definitely want to get feedback, because see, this podcast is to help people, and I've got to give you flowers again. Like I said, I've been knowing you for many years, and I'm amazed because you do have a wealth of wisdom, and I can tell that your wisdom, especially when you speak in truth straight from y'all's book. Mm-hmm. Anybody who understands and knows this book, based on what you just said, is in fact 1,000% correct.
Yeah.
You see, so that's not just you saying something off your emotions and your own personal feelings. Right. This is our guideline This right here, this is our instruction manual. And a lot of people lack understanding when it comes to our instruction manual. So give me one more thing, and then I'm gonna come to you, Brother Uriah, because this is, I don't want all the information just to come from me, especially when I have knowledgeable minds beside me.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna say another one, and this is probably bigger than the one I just said. Is
That's a huge one that you just said, so don't discount it. That's super huge.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I'm gonna say the next thing would just, and I'm also speaking from experience, is y'all parenting styles are gonna be different. So if you're talking about having a relationship and being married to a modern woman, I'm always advocate against that, because marriage is not fit for a modern woman at all. But the parenting styles are gonna be different. Now we know that the Almighty says that the man, one of the curses, as listed in Isaiah, is that women shall rule over the houses. You know what I'm saying? And children shall be the oppressors. And that's what's going on today in the school system.
Yes.
Children are actually oppressing adults. They can curse adults out. They can do all types of disrespectful things and get away with it. And that's a curse upon not just black men, but the society as a whole. There's no repercussions because children have been given
a green light.
Children have been given power to make to influence decisions, and that's a very dangerous position. So when you're dealing with a modern woman is going to believe in 50-50. So when it comes to decisions concerning your children, we know that as a man, the first thing you want to do is your first obligation to your children is to protect them, whether it be a son or a daughter, especially our daughters though, right? So when it comes to governing over a daughter, a man should absolutely have 100% say on what goes on in that daughter's life because he is her protector as well as the son. So if you're dealing with a modern woman, she like, nah, well, I believe this. I believe that, I believe that, we can celebrate Christmas. I do want to send them to public school. I want them to do all of these things. I want them to be a part of you know what I'm saying? It's going to lead to a whole laundry list of problems. And we know that the Almighty told us that we are to build our own houses. Jeremiah 29, build our own houses, plant our own vineyards, build our own schools, and be separate from society so that we can have peace within our households and use these laws to govern over our households.
That's right.
Y'all parenting styles are going to be completely different. Now, let's say if things break off with you and this woman, and she says, well, I'm leaving and I'm taking the kids with me. We know that's a complete contradiction against the laws of Yah. Because if you was married to a man and you had a whole nother agenda, well, that's an uncleanliness because you're supposed to be on his agenda. Your desire is supposed to be into this man. So you're free to leave because the Almighty give everybody free will. You don't have to stay in no situation. So you can leave, but you're not to take the kids with you. And that's not happened in too many situations amongst men.
Deuteronomy 24.
Yeah, you literally taking the spiritual authority away from that man to protect his children. So now what they do is they go to these courts, they give custody of the children. You know what I'm saying? They use the system pretty much against us.
And the system is designed to be against you.
So it's a very dangerous. It's a good topic, but we have to be extremely careful when we picking people and make sure that they solid in these laws. Because I'm gonna just be honest, man. A woman's a woman can flip the switch on you at any time, man. Like
there's any woman in this country because the laws that were governed by the day is a benefit to the woman and not the man. A lot of the money that the system collects from a man for child support, all that money don't go to the woman. Did you know that? They make a bunch of money. See, here's the thing. You have people, when you when you get married today, you enter into a contract. Not the way that it should have been, to where now you put this man in your business who don't even know you or care 2 cents for you anyway. And then they regulate your marriage, but they decide based on the woman. You see what I'm saying? So that's just like, you have to be very careful, fellas, in your choosing. And ladies, yes, I'm saying certain things that men need to be aware of, and I know some of you ladies you will definitely agree with it. Not all will agree with it. Like I say, anybody that has a problem with me or anything that I say probably is guilty of some of those things that are being exposed. But the fact of the matter is, if you are a black woman in this land, 9 times out of 10, you may be a Hebrew Israelite, even if you don't recognize who you actually are. And the Almighty said that you're the apple of his eye. He also gave us statutes, judgments, and commandments to live by. And if you don't understand that, that's still going to fall on you. If it haven't been taught to you, it's still going to fall on you. We've been put in this land for a punishment. A lot of people don't probably want to hear that. They probably don't even want to know it. But it's not just by happenstance that we are here in this place that we are in. That's not just by happenstance. We were put here for a reason. And we are under a curse as a people right now. So the worst thing that we can do is be like that crab in the barrel type syndrome. And when you see somebody trying to come up and do right, you holding them down because you don't want to come up and do right. So the bottom line is the Almighty, whether you believe in him or not, he will deal with you on that. He will definitely, if I'm out of order, he's going to deal with me on that. If you're out of order, because he's not a respecter of persons when it comes to judgment. And a lot of times people don't understand that. The people have been deceived for a long time. And then when he sent his servants to wake the people up, the other servant that's been sent to be awakened, you haven't been serving in the capacity that you should have been. That's why we had to come and wake you up. And now when the Almighty sent people, if you refuse, that's on you. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You don't have to listen, even though he gave us 2 ears and only 1 mouth. He gave us 2 ears because we should be more ready to listen than to utter a bunch of foolishness up out of our mouths. You see?
Period.
So the bottom line is, we still going to be held accountable. Some people might say, well, I didn't know. Well, you didn't take the time to find out. You didn't take the time to listen. And that was for all of us. See, again, a man got to have something that a woman appreciates in order to even get that man. A woman got to like a man more than that man likes that woman in order for that woman to even entertain that guy. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. Because if she don't like you, you know the way it is today. Today, men are walking away from even trying to have relationships with women. They really are. Because a lot of times, if you don't meet their standard, and a lot of women, not all, but a lot of women have these ridiculously high standards for themselves. But in fact, they're modern women.
That's right.
But they want a man to have those traditional values. And if you don't have that, then you're considered to be broke. Well, you got a lot of women that are broke because the man broke because he don't want to be a simp. He don't want to be a sucker. So like I say, I'm going to be talking about some things that are going to be a benefit to women. I'm going to talk about some things that need to be a benefit to the men. But I need men to actually understand who they're dealing with. I need women to actually understand who they're dealing with. There has to be a balance. If, in fact, we want to have good, productive, solid relationships. And again, we're talking about having longevity. I'm not talking about somebody getting together and with the other person until they didn't got what all they think they can get, and then it's time to move on to the next. Because the Almighty he gonna deal with that. I guarantee you, a lot of people, males and females, don't understand that when there's unrighteousness going on amongst his people, and the people don't even consider that the Almighty is seen and he knows everything that's going on. They don't understand that there's going to be a consequence to pay. Because especially when it comes to marriage, the Almighty already said, look, I don't want to hear you saying it was a mistake. He said, you come with that, I can destroy the works of your hands. And the works of your hands can be anything. It can be anything. So a lot of times, because people get into their emotions and their feelings, they do things and they don't understand at the time what they're doing.
Yep.
And then when we have, there's a thing that I totally believe, and I've been saying this for as long as I can remember. The same energy that we put out, whether it be male or female, we're going to get that same energy back in the course of our life at least sevenfold. Meaning if we put out positive energy, if we're a positive individual, we're going to get that same energy back sevenfold. However, if we put out that negative energy, that destructive energy, that's not going to be conducive to anything positive, we're going to get that same energy back sevenfold. Now, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Say if I had just been a nasty person
Right.
most of my life, right? And then all of a sudden things just start getting really good for me. But let me give you this indicator first, and some people won't understand it. Ain't no man ever lived a whole day just yet anyway. All right. So now let me go back to what I'm saying here. So say I've just been putting out negative, nasty energy. I done help bring the demise to other relationships, all kinds of things. So say when I change, and then sometime in my life, things just start going haywire. Things just start falling apart. I can't figure it out. So the life of me, why is all of this bad stuff happening to me now? It's just that's just my turn now. That's that same energy that I had put out. The Almighty ain't forgot about it. See, a lot of times people don't understand we get our punishment in the self same day. But we don't understand time. We don't understand the day. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, there's something like that.
Yeah, we don't understand that. But those who do understand know. Now, let me give another example. Say if you've been putting out that good energy because you're just that type of person. You're a positive-minded individual. You might still call it hell, but you always tried to stay positive. You encourage people. You tried to do the things that you could do to be a positive influence on others and whatnot. There's going to be a time in that individual's life or those individuals' life where that same energy they put out, it's just going to come back again sevenfold, meaning blessing after blessing after. I'm talking about, though, but see, a lot of times we get blessings that we don't even that we have to acquire. We got to learn what's acceptable and what's not acceptable in the sight of the Almighty. Because like you being my brother, if I'm just mistreating you, I'm violating the Almighty. I'm violating His law. He say you are the light of Israel. We are the people. And so when we start disrespecting and dealing with one another treacherously, we got a price to pay. That's just like if we his children, right? Say you go home, you got to say like an older child, but you go home and your older child keep on beating on your younger child. Yeah. You're going to have to deal with that older child, right? So we can't think that we just going to escape the Almighty's punishment by dealing with one another just recklessly. Period. Yeah. We can't, I mean, if we expect to get, He knows everything. See, that's one thing. We can't fake it with Him. We can act like behind the curtain that we this good guy with everybody else. But the Almighty, He knows us. He knows. Dang, that's deep. You said that too. So, I mean, because see, I like to get into the intricate details that people don't really consider. That's the reason, man, I swear to you, I've gotten so passionate about trying to help people because I've had relationships, man. I've had relationships where I know I was dogged out. Right. You know, and I've got to the point in my life, you know, to where I want to try to. I didn't know that I was so passionate about this relationship stuff. I didn't. You know, I was always wondering, and I would always say things to people. I say, I know it's something that I'm supposed to be doing that I'm not doing. I know it's something. When people say, find that thing. And, you know, at one point in time, I thought it was bodybuilding. And I said, but no, it ain't that. It ain't that. Then I'm thinking it's this. And I know it wasn't that. And this just, I mean, this is just something that just I gravitate to.
That's good.
Because I see everything that's going on that's around me. And like I say, I do a lot of research. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of men, and y'all do the research yourself and you're going to find out what I'm saying. A lot of men are walking away from relationships, ladies. They're walking away from relationships because they say the juice ain't worth squeeze. They didn't say it that way, but that's pretty much, and then I'm looking. I do a lot of research where I even check what women are saying about relationships. And women are just coming out boldly and saying things that a guy definitely ain't going to agree with. Like if they're in a relationship, he shouldn't have nothing to say about what she wears and what she does, and if she's dealing with somebody else, and he has to have at least this, that, and the other in order to even be with her, and you know, just a bunch of daggone things. You know, then they got this thing where men stop going to gym because they were labeled gym freaks, trying to get likes on TikTok and all that things. So they go in and set up a camera and be dressed in a certain way and be in a way where a guy is going to look, because we're visual. And then call them out on TikTok. Now, this could be a man who's got a family, a wife, children, whatnot. Now, he's being labeled a creep because he was harassing her because he looked and she's right in front of him. So now you got guys that's putting up their thing. A woman come, they just take their shirt and cover their face, and you know while they're doing their exercise. But it got to the point where guys were leaving their gyms that they had been at. A lot of gym owners start losing money because women were doing this, right? So they start putting women out of those gyms because guys quit coming. This is a real thing, man. It's so many different things going on in the world today. Oh, man. And that's just, like I say, that's just one thing. That's just one thing. But listen, I know that we got to wrap this thing up because we were limited on time. And I know you got some other things that you do need to do. And let me say one other thing here. Today's women, instead of being attentive and caring and supportive, some of them, a lot of them, I'm going to say not all of them, will weaponize the things that you say.
Oh, yeah.
They will weaponize those things that you say and then turn them against you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? In other words, when you confide certain things in them, they'll use those things right back at you. That's why the scripture said, be careful what you utter out of the roof of your mouth, even to the woman that lied at your bosom. Now, the woman who lied at your bosom is supposed to be your wife. But, you know, you also share certain things, man, when, you know, and some of you have shared with me, they'll say those things back to you, and that's right in line with the wisdom of Solomon, right? So be careful, you know, because you might tell them some of your innermost secrets, some things that were hurtful to you that maybe you came up with that you had to deal with.
Right.
And then in the heat of an argument, it's going to come back at you. So again, the scripture said, be careful what you utter out of the roof of your mouth, even to the woman who lies at your bosom. I remember when I first saw that scripture many, many years ago. And then I looked for it again. I lost, you know, because some of these scriptures are written a little differently. And then I found it again later on, but it was written sort of different. And now, because people are trying to suppress the word of the Almighty, and this has been going on for a very long time, you might go to, say, like a hotel room, right? And inside that hotel, instead of having the whole Bible, you'll just have some Psalms, Proverbs, and the New Testament. Or like when people are locked up, You know, they might give you the New Testament with Psalms and Proverbs, but it don't have the Old Testament. You see?
That's crazy.
So I discovered that some time ago.
That's wild.
So they are really trying to get rid of the word of the Almighty.
Yeah, yeah. I can see why.
And the people are definitely being destroyed because the people, just like the scriptures say, we lack understanding. And when we have no counsel, what happens?
People perish.
People gonna perish. Because they've got so many different religions and all these little different things that just keep them distracted.
I was gonna say what you said about weaponizing information.
Go ahead.
You know, I'm gonna say that also destroys. I feel like, well, I'm gonna ask y'all, what y'all feel like in the relationship keeps the intimacy strong between one another?
Communication, positive communication.
Positive communication.
Positive communication. Here's the thing.
Yeah,
A lot of guys are having issues with just having communication.
yeah, and we already got that problem as black men,
Yeah.
like not, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm talking about they
Not
can't.
forgetting
The guys want to talk,
Right.
but the women won't talk. Talk to some of the guys
Yeah,
your
I
age
know. I
that's in
already know.
relationships, and they're gonna tell you. The guys want to resolve things, but the women are not talking, man. The women are not talking, and I gotta say, this is like, I don't know how this is happening. That is happening all over in this country.
Yeah, it is.
And then when they do talk, from what I'm getting and from what I know, that they're insults constantly being tossed around. You can't have a conversation, and the conversations end up turning into arguments. And an argument ain't going to be something that's productive. An argument is not going to be a benefit at all.
What do you think about when it talks about in Proverbs? I know that you said the modern mindset that they want a traditional man, but they don't want to do 50-50. But we know that we just read in Proverbs 31 that the woman will go out and sell merchandise to the merchants to acquire resources. So we know that this Proverbs 31 woman was contributing also financially to the house.
Of course. Of course.
So when the modern woman says that the man should pay for everything, and they said that that's tradition, but that's not in
They've
scripture.
been taught a lot, man. They've been taught a lot. They say, see, check this out, man. They've even taken it a step farther. Just to be a woman's boyfriend in these times, which the Almighty don't condone no boyfriend-girlfriend relationships, first of all.
Right.
That a man has to provide for his girlfriend. Fellas, listen to me. Your resources are for your wife exclusively. And you should not be the only one pouring into that relationship. She should also be pouring into that relationship. Now, of course, you have the bigger burden, if you want to call it a burden, but that's our responsibility as being a traditional man. So I don't look at it myself as a burden. But you're supposed to have that help make, meaning she's to be a helper. But you need to instruct her on the things that you need that help with, not unless she just one of the women who picks it up instantly and she knows, let me do this because that's going to lighten his burden. Let me do that because that's going to lighten his. You see what I'm saying? Now, when you got something like that, man, you got to keep her. You got to keep her. Because, see, here's the thing. When you're with somebody for a certain amount of time, and it don't take necessarily a long time, you're able to start reading one another's energy.
Yeah.
Y'all with me on that?
Right.
If you're with somebody and you can see that she's depressed about something, when you look upon her countenance, you can tell. And likewise, if she's paying any attention, she can tell. So you're to hold one another up. You see, you don't just nurture a baby. What if you didn't have no baby? Well, you also nurture your relationships. So I can really do that. It's certainly not somebody that you know is right with you till the wheels fall off.
Question: do you think that if in a modern relationship or in a relationship that the female should contribute 100% of her money, or do she give half of her money and keep it to herself, or how do you feel on that?
Well, I'm just going to tell you the way it is.
That's a good question.
You got traditional men who know where tradition comes from, who have been either indoctrinated in that by what they've seen their father do, even if they didn't know the laws that that preceded all this type of stuff, right? And then you have modern people who don't know nothing about this right here. Matter of fact, instead of being in the front of the book, they way back there in the back of the book.
Right.
So their mindset is something completely different, right? I do believe that both parties, see, like I believe a man should just be taking the traditional route,
Right.
right? Which is going to be paying the bigger portion of the bill than the woman. She can pay the cable bill, the internet, certain little things. But the man should be taking care of the food, the mortgage, or the rent, or things like that. And a lot of times, the women wouldn't want the clothing that a man might buy, because a lot of times women in today's society want the more expensive stuff.
Right.
You see, because everybody, it's about this design and that design and all that. With me, it's about something that's clean, that look nice, and something that fits you well. You see, but I do believe that the way society is right now, if a man has not been brought up to know tradition, and he's not dealing with the law, if he's having a modern mind, because a lot of these guys have modern mindsets too. I don't want anybody to think that I was just talking about the women. A lot of these guys don't know nothing about tradition. So I don't think a modern guy should be forced, because he didn't know, to be a traditional guy and provide for his girlfriend and his wife. That's just women at this point trying to use a man really for a come up. And guys, please know this and understand this. And this is going to offend some women, but it's the truth. And this is even in nature. This is even in nature. Women, guys, are hypergamous. If you don't understand what that means, look up the word. In other words, when I was talking to you before, saying if you only made $50,000 a year, right? And you fall in love, you can't meet her standards of things she wants, right? And even though you love this woman, because see, sometimes, and I have to say this, in my opinion, and things I know, men love harder than women.
Yeah.
Men love harder than women. Okay, so now that could be controversial or whatever, but I'm not even gonna go there. Say like you make $50,000 a year, but you're not up to standards, because now with social media and people believing all the hype, if you ain't making 100 grand, or you ain't making this, or you ain't driving that kind of car, hey, you beneath certain people, right? So say there's another guy who she know he's balling, he's making some pretty good paper, right? And so all of a sudden your relationship is starting to go south, and you wonder, why is your relationship going south? It could be because a lot of times a woman may go to another person that she sees she has a better opportunity with.
That's right.
Because now he's making a lot more money than you, so he can provide more resources than you, and he's willing to do those particular things. Now, the fact of the matter is, sometimes a woman will be with the guy just for the things that he's able to do for her. Ladies, y'all know that's the truth. I am not saying all women by any means. I'm saying some of the women that may see this may know some women that are doing exactly what I'm saying. Because maybe you weren't her first pick, but if you can help take some of that load off of her, okay, why not? Why not be with you until she feel like she can do better? That's the mindset of some of them. So somebody gonna end up with a broken heart, and their wallet is gonna be depleted. And this is happening a lot. I ain't making this up, and ladies, y'all know I ain't making it up. And the fellas that might be watching this know I ain't making it up. I ain't gonna talk about something that I don't know to be factual.
Do you think a man would be wrong if he says that in order for a female to be with him, that she has to give all her money to him to let him know that she's serious? Because what I have seen with the modern woman, they value their pockets more than they do their own body. they will give their body to a stranger, don't even know his last name, but would not give all of their money to her husband.
That's a fact, but I wouldn't say I would not. I wouldn't even suggest that a man ask a woman for her money. I wouldn't. I wouldn't even suggest that at all. But you are factual about the other thing that she'll give her body to this person. See, because here's the thing you got to
They value
understand.
that
But listen,
resource.
I understand. I'm gonna get to that. But check this out. Women are completely different than men. Men and women have a completely different mindset. So when you can get one that thinks similar to you in reality, then that's about as close as you're going to get. But for the most part, men and women are completely different. I wouldn't see. Here's the thing: a woman who's making her own money, that's good, but I believe she should be working for the sake or the benefit of that family.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So if she's making money too, then she can contribute a little more to the household. But they'll say like those things like some women like expensive things, right? Like they might like designer purses, they might like this, or they might like that. If they're making that extra money, then they can use that money to buy those things that they may not want to burden you with.
Right.
You see, that way you can still handle your business. So that could be a good thing in itself. I definitely wouldn't recommend saying, hey, look, you got to give me all your money. That's a very belittling, and I know you don't mean it that way, but that's a very belittling thing to say, hey, give me all that money. That's almost sound like a pimp or something, but I do believe that if a woman is working, that's going to help her bring more resources to her family. I don't think that a woman in these times should look for a traditional man to pay all the bills and she's working, but she spends all of her money on herself, and then she says her money is her money and your money is y'all's money. Now, some women have that mentality.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, some women have that
I
mentality.
say it should be flipped.
Well, see, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Again, that's the reason a traditional man is really having a hard time finding good relationships, because you get a lot of modern men that actually have, I'm talking about modern day men who have a traditional mindset.
Right.
But then you get some modern people in these times, who don't have a base, and their base is scriptorial, right? So they just follow the world. And the world pretty much say everything goes.
Pretty much.
That's what the world says.
Real talk.
And you got to imagine we're here in this big pot of gumbo,
That's right.
right? We're just a part of it. And we don't know the part that we should be playing. So we just do what we see everybody else doing. We say what we hear everybody else saying. And we become this confused people. There's a big echo, I think, because that door is open. Yeah, we just falling off, man. And, I feel like we're just this huge disappointment to the Almighty. A lot of it. I really feel that way, including myself. Because, my thing is when we learn better, as a people, we should want to do better. But again, I just stated some people don't want to learn because maybe they don't know how, and they don't want to learn. They don't want to listen. They don't want to take instruction. It's like, who are you to tell me?
Yeah. Right.
And it's sad, man. It really is. I swear. Y'all, listen, just yesterday up on that podium, man, I ain't lying. I was trying my best not to let no tears fall, because I get emotional talking about certain things, man. Because when I notice certain things are just wrong, and I take my position as just a messenger, I take that serious, man. Because I know ultimately, regardless if the appointment came by way of man, I know the commission comes from the Almighty.
That's right.
You hear what I'm saying, King?
Oh, yeah.
I know where that commission comes from. So I think it's because I'm older and I've become wiser to things that I'm a little bit more sensitive to matters. because I understand that the Almighty, the way He feels about things, I understand that more. I understand that. And I understand there's a price that we got to pay.
Right.
There's a price. And I also understand that if we know better, but we refuse to do better, just like people know, they've heard of the Almighty.
Right.
They've heard of the 10 Commandments. Some of them might even know what those commandments are. But you know what they quick to say? That's done away with. That was then, this is now. They don't understand. They don't understand that people are dying just to get into hell.
That's right.
You know, I would teach and I would use this phrase, hell is in the forecast. I don't know if they understood what I meant, but I always try to bring some clarity to that statement. Like with the things that's going on here in this country, with people who look just like you and me,
Right.
who doing things contrary to the Almighty.
Right.
Hell is in the forecast. All these boyfriend, girlfriend relationships. Hell is in the forecast. They don't understand. They don't understand. And right now, even as I say that, they hear me, but they don't understand what I mean. When we're doing things that the Almighty Yah said ought not be done, and we've made it a custom to do those things. We're saying, hey, I'm not going with what the Creator say, because He ain't tell me that, or they saying, well, this is a different time. We can do what we want to do. Ooh-wee, I would not want to have that mentality. So listen, I know this is deep, and I know you got some things that you got to prepare for.
Yeah, we both.
And listen, I don't want to go on and on. I got out more than I expected to get out because I know you have a tight schedule. But I just hope some of the things that I said are considered by both parties, male and female. I don't say anything to try to belittle anybody. I just bring out factual things that are taking place that ought not be taking place. And so no one should be offended because I bring those things out, because it's all about us becoming a better people in the sight of our Creator. We're supposed to be a spiritual people, not a religious people. No one can show me anywhere at all in their book, their Bible, where the Almighty, the Creator of heaven and earth, gave any man, woman, or child a religion. They cannot show me that because it is not there.
Right.
He gave us statutes, judgments, and commandments for us to live by.
That's right.
And those commandments are about a matter of life and or death. He just told us to choose wisely. Right? So, you guys got anything in closing?
No, I think we hit it for real.
I definitely appreciate you guys'
Conversation for
feedback.
sure.
You know, and I try to bring something different every time. And I said next week I need to, because I want to have a balance here. And there's some traits that a lot of guys have. Again, I'm not talking about all guys, as I'm not talking about all women. But there are some traits that I'll bring up, some of those traits, and I've done that in the past as well. I hate to be redundant, but I'm going to bring up some things and hopefully add something else in, y'all willing, next week about the things that ladies, you should look out for. Because the fact of the matter is, some men, should I say, come with red flags, and again, some women come with red flags. Can we agree on that?
You're right.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
All right, you got anything?
No, that's it. Go ahead and like, subscribe, share the video. Praise Yah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Stay tuned. We got a debate coming up too. Hallelujah. Discussion with our brothers from Sakari. Hallelujah.